Gon' kick it off then. Whoa. Gon' kick it off then. It ain't a game, kick it off then. Whoa. So gon' kick it off then. Huh? What we talking about, it goes deep. Something to watch, even from the nosebleeds. The fans been waiting, anticipating for the whole week. Cause we making moves and breaking news, no time for cold feet. Don't confuse, you know the rules and that we play to win. You ain't prepared to take it, then I let the games begin. A man's world, but the ladies gon' be taking it. Not a trophy or an all-piece, unless we talking Lombardi. What's up?
Once again, it's lights out for the remainder of the season for J.J. Watt. Deja vu for the Chicago Bears as kicker issues continue to haunt them. Joe Flacco out for Sunday's game against the Browns. Brandon Allen in. Kyle Allen to start again for the Panthers against the Titans. The 49ers topped the number in their logo Sunday by putting up a 50-point burger against the Panthers. The Bengals and Dolphins are still winless, and Ken Wisenhunt fired by the Chargers. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. You're tuned into episode number 8 of WTF Too, Women Talk Football 2. I'm Latasha Miles, a.k.a. Joan Madden, the Gridiron Goddess of ESPN The Network, accompanied by my dope, talented, knowledgeable co-host. Please let the people know who you are.
What's up, good people? It's the one and only touchdown time, boy, baby. Week 8 is on deck, man. We saw some amazing stuff this week. We saw some bad stuff this week. Man, let's get into it, baby.
No doubt, indeed. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing kicked off in the first quarter. Touchdown Tomboy. Now, as we're at the peak of this halfway point of the season, we still have 2 undefeated teams, one in the AFC and one in the NFC. So in the AFC, it is the reigning Super Bowl champions, the New England Patriots. But who do you think, what team in the AFC do you think will be the biggest challenge for those undefeated Patriots?
You know, I am leaning towards, and I'm going to tell you, you probably are not going to be able to believe this, but I'm actually starting to lean toward the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at the Colts, and the Colts, they're flying under the radar right now,
mm-hmm.
and Jacoby Brissett under center is doing an amazing job. He's protecting the football, which is always what you want. That defense has been really, really stellar. I actually think that going head to head, I don't think Jacoby is scared. I think he'll be fearless because he has something to prove. Mm-hmm. And he used to play under Bill Belichick, so I think he understands that system more than most. And I actually think that they'll be able to give them what they're looking for. Now, some people would say that the Ravens could possibly do it depending on the day, but at this point, I'm looking at Ravens defense has been suspect to me. So if anybody I felt like could give them a run for their money, I think it could possibly be the Colts. Now remember, the Colts also beat the Kansas City Chiefs, mm-hmm. who were picked to beat the Patriots this year. And so we're talking about these same Colts. And so out of all the teams right now that I'm seeing, I think that the Colts have the likelihood or the possibility to be able to do this because they've been doing it with everybody else. I'm just looking at what the numbers are saying, what they're doing, and they're finding ways to win. Their defense is stepping up every single game. And so that's going to be my pick coming out of the AFC to be able to beat New England. I think they may be one of the only teams out of the AFC that may be able to do it.
Interesting. And I had both of those teams listed as well. The only thing that scares me about the Colts, as you kind of alluded to, with Jacoby Brissett actually coming from the Belichick system, I feel like it's the other way around. See, Brissett has to be a little bit more prepared for 53 players, where Belichick only has to have his Patriots prepared for that one player in Jacoby Brissett, kind of knowing his nuances, being familiar with what he has done. So they're kind of eyeballing on Brissett. And I feel like that if he does have to play, if the Colts and the Patriots play, which I haven't checked that part of the schedule, see if they play regular season, or who knows, maybe they'll face each other in the playoffs. But I just feel like the target is going to be on Jacoby Brissett's back. Like, I feel like Bill Belichick is going to zoom in and heavily have his guys prepared for him, again, with him coming from the system. And I feel like all the information that Brissett may know about the Patriots, Bill Belichick is going to have all that wiped out anyway so that he doesn't have any advantages. And like you said, the Colts did beat the Chiefs. Well, I felt like that was huge for them because they had Justin Houston. So Justin Houston, who now plays for the Colts, he was a scout for the Chiefs. He knew everything that Mahomes was going to do. He was kind of like an inside man. And I felt like that was a big part of why the Colts were able to beat him because they had the Justin Houston advantage. And on the flip side, I actually look at Baltimore as the team that could beat them. Of course, they play each other this Sunday night at 8:20. I'm not making a guarantee necessarily. But New England and the Baltimore Ravens have had some very heated matchups in playoffs and regular season in New England, in Baltimore. So it's always a very entertaining game to watch. I think the Ravens are flying under the radar as well with that. And the reason why I'm giving the Ravens a little bit more of an advantage is because as great as New England's defense has been, they haven't faced a Lamar Jackson type quarterback yet. This is a guy who can run. This is a guy who can pass. So it's kind of like you pick your poison. I mean, do you stack 8 in the box with him? And then, you still got to kind of what he can do inside and outside the pocket. And this is coming from somebody who does not like the Ravens. I don't like the Patriots either. So this is really hard for me to digest and say all this about both teams. But it's also that game is in Baltimore. I mean, I don't know. They might send some of the goons, like some of the little stuntmen from The Wire or something to try to play some tricks, some traps and things of that nature for the Patriots. I don't know. But I feel like I agree with you about the Colts, but I'm just a little shaky because of Brissett. And I'm looking at the Ravens as well, kind of just flying. I mean, they went to Seattle and beat Russell Wilson and them. So I don't know. I'm looking at the Ravens as a possibility, but it would not surprise me if New England remain undefeated and beat them in Baltimore on Sunday as well. So let's flip this script here on the second quarter. Moving on, we just talked about the remaining AFC undefeated team. So in the NFC, also having that one remaining undefeated team, the San Francisco 49ers. So touchdown, Tomboy, what team in the NFC will be the biggest challenge for these undefeated 49ers?
I'm gonna tell you the truth. The NFC has been very hard for me to digest because they're stacked and they're stacked well. I don't think I could ever bet against Aaron Rodgers. He can pull a rabbit out of anybody's hat. I will never bet against Drew Brees. Drew Brees and the Saints, they can come marching in on any time of the year. And I could never bet against Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. I mean, the NFC is just stacked. Like, I see contenders all over the place. And don't get me wrong, that 49er defense proved that it was real. And that it could do some major things. But we got to remember, they were playing against a backup quarterback on Sunday. And so, and that offensive line has had a lot of struggles. Now, the thing that'll be concerning for me is with Russell Wilson and that offensive line, sometimes, they've gotten better over the years, but will they be able to hold up? However, Russell Wilson is the mastermind behind the line, and so he can tend to dial out of any play, and he can scramble. Him and Aaron Rodgers are the best scramblers that I know, and they can extend plays and make incredible plays, and they are so poised when the pressure is on. And so I just don't know if the 49ers will be able to handle that quarterback play. And then you got to think about Drew Brees and the Saints. You talking about what Sean Payton can do, and him and Drew Brees together have just been a deadly combination. So I can see going a lot of ways in the NFC, baby. I can see the 49ers catching a loss from several teams, and I dare say it, and I actually mentioned this today, and I told my brother earlier today, I said, I think that the Vikings could give him a run if we can get a consistent Kirk Cousins. And Cousins, he'll have that streak where he'll play well and then he'll play very bad. So I don't even know. But the NFC is stacked, and it's hard for me to pick one team out of the NFC. So I had to give you several. Okay.
Nothing wrong with that, and I totally agree with you. I mean, it is to quote the Raekwon line, you got stacks like the International House of Pancakes. I mean, that's how stacked it is, like you said, in the NFC. I mean, low key, it could be Dallas. I mean, Dallas is very consistently inconsistent as well, but who knows with the addition of Michael Bennett and they getting him coming out of the bye week. I mean, maybe Dallas could make a little bit of noise and kind of turn their season around and get a little bit more consistent and build on a win streak. And it's unpredictable in the NFC as well, to where the AFC is not as muddled. It's not as cloudy, but you're absolutely right. It could go so many different ways in the NFC. And speaking of a couple of teams that you mentioned, the Green Bay Packers and the New Orleans Saints, well, what do you know? The 49ers do have to play both of them going down the stretch, and they actually host Green Bay on November the 24th and travel to New Orleans in December. And I think that both of these teams are definitely dangerous out of the NFC. And I think there'll be a split. And as much as I love Aaron Rodgers, I don't like Aaron Rodgers as much on the road. Not against teams that are, and I'm not talking about like, with him going to Dallas, because he has Dallas's number, but with more dominant teams, I really don't like Aaron Rodgers as much on the road. And by the time they play them in November 24th, the 49ers will still have a pretty good record. And again, it's in San Francisco. I don't like the 49ers as much. They're that raucous, loud dome. The one advantage that they might have is Kyle Shanahan, 49ers coach. He came from the NFC South since he was a coordinator for the Falcons. So he saw the Saints twice a year, that kind of thing. Peyton was there. Breeze was there. So that might help him out a little bit. But overall, I just kind of see those two teams being the biggest threats for the 49ers. When they do play both of them, I see a 1-1 split. And who knows, they might actually face each other again in the playoffs. So going on to your halftime presentation, Touchdown Tomboy, what do you have on the agenda for us this week?
All right, as promised, your girl always tries to deliver. All right. So here we go. So this, last week we talked about offside. So, offside is when you actually cross the line of scrimmage. And so I wanted to clarify what neutral zone infraction is, because they're kind of similar. So now, neutral zone infraction is when a defensive player crosses the line of scrimmage and the defensive player causes the offensive player to have a false start, meaning to move before the ball is actually snapped. That's what actual neutral zone infraction is. And so offside, you basically cross the line of scrimmage before the ball is hiked is considered offside. But when you actually, as a defensive player, cause your offensive player to actually move before or have a false start before the ball is actually snapped, that's what a neutral zone infraction is. So I wanted to clarify the difference so that you can kind of understand, my friends out there in football land, so you know kind of where we're leaning towards, so that you can know the difference when they call it. Okay? So that's all I got for the halftime this week. I hope I do this promise.
No doubt, definitely needed that clarification. I mean, there's so many different penalties. I mean, even like you could throw encroachment in there as well. Like it's so much different. The variations with it, all still a 5-yard penalty, but there is definitely some fine lines between what all of those are. So definitely appreciate that clarification there, Touchdown Tomboy. As we proceed to the third quarter, and of course, this is week 8. Kind of, it's interesting because it's 17 weeks in the regular season, but of course each team only plays 16 weeks. So the bye week is kind of what throws things off. So between 8 and 9 is kind of the halfway point of the season. So we're going to start kind of talking about like some midway MVPs, kind of check in on how things are going in the middle of the season. And we're going to kick this thing off with, so far, who is the mid-season coach of the year? Touchdown Tomboy, who you got your eyes on with this one?
Let me tell you something. I gotta give it up to my man Cal Shanahan. The stuff that I saw Cal Shanahan pull out of the Rabbits hat on Sunday, the misdirections, the multiple stack running back, it was all types of screens, and it was entertaining to watch. And I'm a Panther fan to my heart. And so to see him dial up that kind of stuff to just they were just discombobulated from the beginning. They just looked like they had no clue to what was going on. And only a mastermind could create that kind of play scheme and those play designs. And I got to give it up to Kyle Shanahan and how he got those boys out there in San Francisco balling. The defense, Nick Bosa, coming off the edge, and he's doing his thing. And even his guys that are coming off the bench, His rotations are lighting it up. The backfield is looking good and they're holding steady. So I'm going to ride with Kyle Shanahan on this one and what he's doing out there in San Francisco. I did not expect San Francisco to look the way that they've been looking. And Kyle Shanahan is doing an amazing job out there. And I'm going to pick Kyle Shanahan to be the man this year.
And it's interesting that you say that too, especially with how bad they looked in the preseason. Of course, preseason doesn't count, but wasn't it one time like Garoppolo threw about 4 picks or so? Yeah. So yeah, they really turned over a new leaf. And I wanted to go with Shanahan, especially because a few years ago I was arguing people down that the only reason why Matt Ryan won that MVP, that was Kyle Shanahan's MVP. Like, truth be told, and looking at it 3 years later, it seems to remain true. That was Kyle Shanahan's MVP, as he was the offensive coordinator for Matt Ryan at the time. And now look at what he's doing out there in San Francisco. But I felt like it was so obvious to pick like a Shanahan or a Belichick because both teams are undefeated. So it's like the safe choice. It's like the obvious choice. It sticks out like a sore thumb. But you're right. The way that Shanahan changed this around so rapidly, it's hard to believe. Belichick is just as constant. So there's no surprises there that New England is doing as successfully as they are. But I'm actually going with Matt LaFleur at the moment. The Packers having 1 loss, and technically they could have 2, because I ain't gonna lie, there was some questionable. Yeah, they could definitely have 2. With those questionable calls in that Detroit Monday night game. But I'm going with LaFleur because I'm thinking about the Packers, how they have missed the playoffs like the past couple of years, and just the way that franchise was starting to just kind of deteriorate, the relationships between coaches and players. There was like Mike McCarthy had lost control of the locker room. He definitely lost control of Aaron Rodgers. The way that Aaron Rodgers got that injury with the collarbone, and the franchise kind of started going down from there. But I'm looking at the way Aaron Rodgers is playing now. It's a lot more fearless. It's not timid. Towards I saw some of Aaron Rodgers sometime where he just kind of was like, you know what, if my collarbone break, it just break, and I wouldn't mind taking a vacation. It looked like Aaron Rodgers didn't want to be there. But I see a new, reemerged Aaron Rodgers. It's like another boost of confidence. He's having fun again. And I know a lot of that has to do with Matt LaFleur. Like, Matt LaFleur is trusting him more. And this is a Aaron Rodgers who no longer has Randall Cobb. Jordy Nelson's gone. Clay Matthews is gone. And the way that LaFleur has just come in and injected this new, the old is new again type Green Bay Packers atmosphere and environment, I think is really impressive. And plus his name is just sexy. I mean, he's a good looking guy as well. He's a sexy guy. He's got a sexy name. And if anytime he comes up on that podium for a post-game conference, if somebody in the sound booth is not playing LaFleur by Helter Skelter, you need to start. So yeah, I'm going with Matt LaFleur for my mid-season coach of the year. And so,
you know what? That's an awesome pick because Matt LaFleur he's doing some amazing things with Green Bay. Like, to see that turnaround that they have, because Green Bay looked nothing last year like they looked this year.
Exactly.
And they do look like a revitalized, a revamped, the whole offense. Like, they just look like they got a whole bunch of lifelines. And it's amazing because it's funny that you pointed out that they no longer have Randall Cobb. They no longer have Jordy Nelson. And so people were saying, well, can Devontae Adams hold it down by himself, him and Jimmy? And it's like, they certainly can. And, you know, the thing is that Aaron Rodgers is a bad man. So if you give him good play designs, good coaching schemes, you know, he'll absolutely go out there and knock your socks off. And that's exactly what the Packers are doing. I like Matt LaFleur, too. So I think he's an awesome choice, too. So, I mean, I can't argue with you on that one either.
Well, we'll definitely see the official results as we get to the end of the season. But at this moment, it looks like it's got to be one of those two. And Kyle Shanahan, he kind of easy on the eye, too. So I like that pick as well. So we're going to go ahead and conclude this and wrap this up with the fourth quarter here. Of course, we always do kind of like the preview for the upcoming week. So we're heading into week 9. So this is like really, really officially all the way. At the end of week 9, everybody would have at least played 8 games, counting the bye. So that will be the official halfway point, with everybody playing at least 8 games as we conclude week 9. So just looking at this touchdown time board, is there anything in week 9, any divisional games? We kick off week 9 on Halloween as well. Going to be some It's gonna be some tricks. It's gonna be some treats coming up. What you looking at for week 9 there, Touchdown Tomboy?
All right, as you've already alluded to before, the Patriots and the Ravens play Sunday night at 8:20, and that is definitely a primetime game, baby. We can also not forget Monday night now. We can't just throw the Giants out the window now. The Giants been sneaking up on people. And so I can't just toss them out the windows. The Giants plays the Cowboys on Monday at 8:15, and that should be a good one to watch as well. The Chiefs and Vikings play on Sunday. That should be an excellent game to watch. And I want to see how the Panthers bounce back from that 50 burger that 49ers placed on them Sunday. So, of course, that's going to be a game to watch. That's all I really got. In terms of like big games, I think the Eagles and the Bears will be a decent game to watch. But those are all the big games that are on my radar this week.
Absolutely. And yeah, definitely that New England Baltimore one is huge. But I'm always a fan of division games too, because division games can have so many implications, not only on the two teams playing, but for the other two teams as well. Like, depending on the outcome of the game, it could be a shift in, because that team lost, that moves me up. And even if the team is like an idol. So I'm a big fan of division games. I love the fact that Thursday night's division game is going to be San Francisco at Arizona. San Francisco, of course, still undefeated, but I'm like, with them playing a short week and putting up all those 50 points, would that be kind of like, maybe would there be like a decline with them as they play a tough Arizona team? Arizona has some wins. They are very feisty. They get in there. They've been fighting. Their record doesn't necessarily completely match the way that they've been playing. So it's going to be interesting to see San Francisco and Arizona. I'm looking at the Houston and Jacksonville game. No J.J. Watt going to Jacksonville. How would that game, maybe would that be some new designs, some different game plays? Just kind of, what is Jacksonville going to be able to do as far as like being a little bit more unpredictable, a lot less safe, a lot less conservative, and now knowing that there's no J.J. Watt. The Jets at Miami. And the reason why this one's big is, Miami played my Steelers tough, especially in the first half. They forgot that there's 3 more quarters in the game, though, apparently. But I had said last week that I felt like it was going to be a trap game. I was not rolling or blinking my eyes on Miami whatsoever. And the fact that they're playing a Jets team who also only has 1 win, Miami could very well get their first win against their own division. That is the game that me and a couple of my homegirls will be attending, because we were going to Miami and the tickets were so cheap. We got row 13 for like $57. So yeah, we'll be in attendance as well. Hopefully, kind of preparing to go back down there for the Super Bowl. Fingers crossed, and Lord willing. I'm about like you as well, watching that Indy at Pittsburgh game. I think Chicago and Philly, we just saw them in the playoffs a couple years ago. Kicker missed the field goal that could have gave Chicago the win. Chicago, once again, deja vu. They lost with at the end against I can't remember who they lost to on Sunday, but they lost it. But the reason why they lost was solely because of the kicker. And Dallas and the Giants, like you said, you can never count out the Giants against anybody in that division, regardless of what the record says. That's just any divisional game. Like, you play these people twice a year. There's the familiarity, there's the rivalry, there's the I hate you. And if I only win 2 games this season, I would love for it to be the Cowboys. I'm sure that whether the Giants have already won at least 2 games. But I'm saying, like, if it is 2 games that I win this season, I want both of them to be against a divisional rival. So I expect the Giants to kind of get up for that game. They're playing at home also. There's teams for you not to look for this Sunday or this Thursday, Sunday or Monday. Atlanta's on a bye. Cincinnati's on a bye. The LA Rams are on the bye. And the New Orleans Saints are on a bye as well. So, yeah, just some other little news and notes. Kind of concluding here that we just mentioned the bye weeks. The trade deadline will be wrapped up by the time you all hear this episode. Leonard Williams, one of the latest moves as he went from the Giants to the Jets. We already mentioned about Ken Wisenhunt getting fired by the San Diego Chargers as the offensive line coach. I would love to have him back in Pittsburgh. Now, I don't want Tomlin to get fired, but I don't know if Tomlin may step down because of all the rigmarole and all the skepticism. He might just be tired and want another change. They were talking about he might go to the Redskins. He said no. But if Tomlin does leave, I would take Ken Wisenhunt and scoop him up like the Raisin Bran raisins, 2 scoops of I will scoop him up just like that if something happens with Tomlin. I'm not going to force anything, and I know Ken Whisenhunt, if he did rejoin the Steelers, he wouldn't take anything except for a head coaching spot, considering he used to be our offensive coordinator and he helped us get a ring. But that's something I'm eyeballing. Again, if Tomlin leaves or something, Ken Whisenhunt may have another job by then. But if it is, Tomlin decides to go, I would love to have Ken Whisenhunt back. And I'm love Ken Whisenhunt just as much as I love Tomlin. This is not a favoritism thing. This is solely because, if they do something with Tomlin, or if Tomlin is frustrated and tired and moves on, then I'd love to have Whisenhunt get the nod. So, Touchdown Tomboy, is there any other news and notes that you're observing? Any little sidebars you want to throw out there, or?
Man, no. I just can't wait, boy. It's starting to get real good. It's starting to shape up a little bit more.
Absolutely.
And I just get excited. I mean, we're week 9. We're like, we'll be halfway through. And
right.
It's going so fast.
It really is. Gosh, it'll be November on. Yeah, I know it's crazy. And it'll be November on Friday. And daylight savings times this weekend. So don't you guys forget to fall back, turn the clocks back an hour. It's going to probably be hard for us to adjust to that time difference and sleep difference and things like that. But just a friendly reminder, I'm sure you'll hear throughout the week up until Sunday. Don't forget to turn your clocks back 1 hour on Sunday morning at 2 a.m. A lot of people set them back, before they go to bed or whatever. But this is daylight savings time approaching us this weekend. So that is going to conclude this episode of WTF Too, Women Talk Football 2, with your girl, the Gridiron Goddess, and the Touchdown Tomboy. We appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you get the merchandise. We got mugs, got hats, got shirts. The weather's about to change, so there's like some other things kind of coming up. And so yeah, keep your eyes and ears open for all of that. And be sure you follow us on all social media platforms, including liking the YouTube channel, which is SheSP in the network.
Your man James Conner got hurt again.
Yes, he got hurt. It's I think he came back in the game and got a touchdown, but they're reevaluating him. Yeah, he had 145 yards and a touchdown off 23 carries. But I think he has to get evaluated to kind of see where he goes from there.
He was evaluated for an AC joint in his shoulder.
But did they say did they say the results yet?
No, they just said that they think he has an AC joint injury. He seems to be a little injury prone, so I don't know how that's going to work out. That was breaking news. I got to keep us up on the latest and greatest.
Absolutely. So I'm definitely going to have my eyes and ears tuned in to how that outcome goes. That's for sure.
Well, it's our job to keep them informed because we are women that talk football, right?
Definitely. Absolutely. No doubt. So we appreciate you guys for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you all and hearing from you all next week. Appreciate you guys on the post. We make the different posts and you guys give like your feedback and the constructive criticism. And for you guys for commenting on like the YouTube channel. We really appreciate it. Let us know thoughts, ideas, concerns. Somebody said we need to talk more about the 49ers. Okay. I think we fulfilled that tonight. I mean, we mentioned them for Coach of the Year. We talked about their game on Thursday as they kick off week 9. I think we did pretty good with talking about your can't remember who it is off the top of my head, but he's like, you guys need to talk more about the 49ers. So there you have it. I think we kind of fulfilled that tonight. So yeah, but we appreciate you guys, definitely. We're trying to really work on some big stuff here. So all of the views and the comments, the commentary, the shares, anything that you can do to help contribute to that, it's no small feat. It does not go unnoticed, and we greatly appreciate it. All right. So it's going to wrap up this week 8, that is, of WTF 2 Women Talk Football 2. We are out.